Ever felt like something was off, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it? You're giving time, attention, maybe even parts of your soul, but something in her vibe makes you wonder, is this real desire or just convenience? In a world where female validation is often confused with authentic attraction, it's crucial to know whether she truly wants you or just what you can offer. Today, we're diving into 3 fast, practical ways to get psychological clarity on that question. And here's the kicker. If you ignore these signs, you risk losing more than just time. You risk losing your self-respect, your emotional discipline, and even your personal power. But if you understand them, you regain your masculine frame, and everything changes. If this message already hits somewhere deep, do me a favor, hit like, drop your thoughts below, and share this with a brother who needs to hear it. That small gesture helps more men wake up and step into their male purpose. Let's break it down from the root, because recognizing false desire early can save you years of emotional hunger and confusion. The hidden signs behind her intentions. There's something uniquely frustrating about not knowing where you stand. You're texting her consistently, planning dates, giving your energy, and deep down, a small voice keeps asking, is this real? Most guys brush that voice off, afraid of what they might find. But what if that voice is your masculine intuition, screaming for clarity? When a woman's attention feels inconsistent, it's not random, it's calculated. The question isn't whether she's into you, it's whether her attention is rooted in authentic attraction or driven by covert manipulation. One of the biggest traps men fall into is confusing emotional investment with real desire. Just because she shares personal stories or laughs at your jokes doesn't mean she wants you. Sometimes it means you're fulfilling a role. Comfort, attention, safety. There's a massive difference between being wanted and being used. When a woman is truly drawn to your masculine frame, there's tension, polarity, and depth, not obligation or convenience. You can feel it in her eyes, her touch, the silence between words. Let's be real. If you've ever felt like her energy shifts depending on what you offer, you're not crazy. That's a behavioral pattern, and it's your signal. The woman who truly desires you doesn't need reasons to be close. Her presence is consistent, her eyes attentive, and her excuses rare. But when you're being used, it's all conditional. She shows up when she needs something, validation, money, distraction. That's not chemistry, that's strategic thinking masked as connection. And you need to see it before it costs you your self-respect. There's a phrase nobody tells young men. A woman will test your boundaries not because she's evil, but to find out if you have any. Let that sink in. If you constantly bend over backwards to please her, she'll start to view you as a tool, not a man. Boundaries are not about being cold. They're about protecting your personal power and making sure you're not just another source of female validation. When you have none, you become useful. When you have them, you become irresistible. Let me tell you about Marcus. He was the nice guy, always available, always texting back instantly, bought gifts just because. But every time he tried to take the relationship deeper, she pulled away. Why? Because she didn't see a man, she saw a service. It wasn't until Marcus learned to step into his mental dominance, control his emotional hunger, and protect his emotional leverage that everything shifted. Not with her, but with himself. And that change made every future interaction different, sharper, healthier. Here's something you can test right now. Stop initiating contact for 72 hours, just observe. If she's into you, truly into you, you'll feel her emotional investment increase. She'll find a way to reach out, to reconnect, even subtly. But if she disappears without a trace, congratulations, you weren't dealing with desire. You were a distraction. This isn't a game, it's a calibration of your psychological clarity. One where silence speaks louder than any text thread ever could. Her reaction tells you everything. You want to see where you truly stand? Watch what happens when you say no. No to the favor, no to the random 11 p.m. call, no to the free ride. That moment will expose whether you were a man she respects or a resource she was using. A woman drawn to your high-value man energy won't flinch when you set limits. She'll be drawn closer. But a woman exploiting you for access? She'll vanish, and you'll finally be free from her false desire. Men get trapped in the illusion of consistency. She texts you, "Good morning," every day? Sweet. But what happens when you ask for something real? Her time, her presence, her support. If that's when she suddenly goes cold, you're not in a connection. You're in a loop of emotional detachment disguised as care. The moment she feels she has what she wants from you, the act fades. That's not affection, that's behavioral pattern. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's talk about sexual polarity. When a woman truly wants you, her body speaks before her words. Her eye contact lingers. She leans in, not away. There's electricity. If you've never felt that spark, or it disappeared overnight, chances are you were dealing with emotional leverage, not desire. When desire is real, it's alive. It breathes between every interaction. But when it's gone and she's still around, ask yourself, what's keeping her here? The answer might sting, but it'll set you free. Here's what no one tells you. The more available you are, the less she values you, if her interest was never genuine to begin with. Harsh truth? Yes. But when you always say yes, you eliminate challenge. You sacrifice your masculine frame. And in doing so, you give away the very thing that creates attraction. It's not about playing games. It's about intentional living. Prioritize your time, your goals, your energy. If she's really for you, she'll match that rhythm, not resent it. Now picture this. She starts an argument out of nowhere, just to stir something. Why? Because emotional discipline is power. And when you have it, some women try to knock it down. They want to feel in control of the emotional tone. If she pokes and you explode, she wins. But if you hold the line, speak calmly, and stand grounded, she'll either respect your boundaries or walk away. Either way, you just won. That's stoicism in motion. Quiet, strong, immovable. Real attraction isn't built on what you do for her. It's built on who you are when you're not trying to impress. Women can smell emotional hunger from a mile away. If you're always performing, hoping for her approval, that energy repels more than it attracts. Flip it. Focus on self-mastery. Go to the gym. Build your craft. Learn to sit with silence. The man who doesn't chase but builds becomes the one who attracts without effort. That's where male purpose begins. You ever notice how she's only present when things are easy? When you're vibing, laughing, everything feels perfect. But the moment life gets inconvenient, work stress, bad mood, sickness, she disappears. That's a woman invested in moments, not you. Desire that runs deep stays when the light fades. If she only shows up for the highlight reel, you're not her man, you're her escape. And the sooner you see that, the sooner you can reclaim your personal power and stop being a placeholder. There's a difference between female validation and feminine desire. One soothes your ego, the other moves your soul. Most men chase the former because it's easier to get. A like on Instagram, a flirty text, a compliment at the bar. But those things mean nothing if she's not there. Present, consistent, emotionally available. Don't settle for scraps of attention. Demand depth. You deserve someone who sees your value, not someone who only mirrors it back when it benefits her. If you constantly feel like you have to earn her attention, you're not in a relationship. You're in an audition. Real desire isn't a reward for performance, it's magnetic. If she only reacts to big gestures, or only shows love when you're providing something, that's not affection, it's covert manipulation. A woman who truly wants you will be drawn to your energy even in your silence. She'll want to give. If you're always the one proving yourself, step back, observe, and start asking why. The hardest pill to swallow. Sometimes she likes you, but not in the way you think. She likes your presence. She likes how you make her feel. But she doesn't want to build with you. That distinction is everything. You're not her man, you're her emotional crutch. This is why psychological clarity matters. If her behavior leaves you confused more often than confident, that's your answer. Desire doesn't create doubt, it creates direction. And men who chase clarity stop settling for crumbs. There's a silent epidemic of men giving their best to women who don't truly see them. And it's not because these men are weak, it's because they've never been taught how to recognize false desire. They confuse attention with depth. They chase female validation and call it love. But now you're seeing it, you're feeling it. And that awareness, it's power. So here's a quick pause. If this kind of content is waking you up to things you used to overlook, smash that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Don't wait. Every second you delay this shift, you risk falling back into the same trap. This isn't the end. It's where your transformation begins. Let's keep going. Let's talk about the disappearing act. Ever had a woman who was warm, flirty, into you, and then cold the next week? That's not a glitch. That's a behavioral pattern. It's called intermittent reinforcement. The goal is to keep you guessing, addicted to the possibility of connection. When you chase after it, thinking it was your fault, you feed the loop. The only way to break it is to not react. That silence becomes your weapon. Your mental dominance resets the dynamic. If she only makes time when it's convenient but disappears when it matters, that's not someone who desires you. That's someone who's using you as emotional filler. Ask yourself, does she show up on your hard days, or only when she's bored? The high-value man learns to watch patterns, not promises. He listens to behavior, not words. And that awareness builds self-respect. Because once you honor your time and energy, she either rises to meet you or fades into the background where she belongs. You want to know if she truly desires you? Look at how she reacts to your growth. When you level up, invest in yourself, build momentum, does she support it or sabotage it? A woman attracted to your male purpose will celebrate your expansion. A woman who's using you will fear losing control. Her disapproval isn't about love, it's about losing the advantage. Your progress threatens her convenience. And that's the moment where you choose validation or intentional living. There's power in walking away, not out of spite, but out of understanding. When you realize your presence is being consumed, not cherished, it's time to protect your emotional leverage. That doesn't make you heartless. It makes you aware. Let her wonder where you went. Let her sit in the silence you used to fill. Your absence, when rooted in masculine frame, speaks volumes. You don't need to explain your worth. You just need to stop handing it out to people who never earned it. Sometimes, the clearest signal that you're being used is how exhausted you feel. Emotional fatigue isn't love. It's the price you pay for carrying a one-sided connection. If you constantly feel drained after spending time with her, it's a red flag. Real intimacy refuels. It doesn't deplete. You deserve a woman who adds to your personal power, not one who siphons your energy to maintain her own comfort. That tiredness? That's not normal. That's your soul resisting covert manipulation. Men often confuse attention for intimacy. She responds to your texts. Cool. But does she initiate deep conversations? Does she remember what matters to you? When you speak, is she listening or just waiting to talk? Real desire shows up through emotional investment, not routine replies. If you feel like she's present but never really there, you're not imagining it. That disconnection is the absence of authentic attraction. Don't ignore the silence between her words. That's where the truth lives. It's tempting to think you can win her over with more effort. Be nicer, try harder. Show her you're the one. But let's get brutally honest. That mindset comes from emotional hunger, not confidence. You're trying to earn what should be offered freely. The high-value man doesn't negotiate desire. He observes. And if it's not mutual, he moves. Don't get caught in a performance loop. That's how men lose years of their lives chasing someone who never saw them to begin with. Here's a shift in perspective. She's not cold because you did something wrong. She's cold because she was never truly warm. Think about that. If a woman's attention feels unstable, it usually means it wasn't built on sexual polarity, but on what you provide. She might enjoy your time, but that doesn't mean she's drawn to your essence. Real connection has rhythm, not resistance. And you don't have to force someone to stay where they genuinely feel something deep. Let's strip this down even more. If you disappeared today, what would she feel? Relief, indifference, or loss? The woman who truly desires you will feel your absence like a missing pulse. She'll want to reconnect, not out of neediness, but out of genuine emotional attachment. But the one who's using you? She'll move on like nothing happened. That truth hurts, but it heals. Because once you see that clearly, you stop pouring into emptiness and start choosing women who see your light. Many men stay in confusing situations because they fear being alone, but solitude is not weakness. It's the birthplace of self-mastery. When you learn to sit with yourself, without noise, without distraction, you rebuild your stoicism. You realize you don't need to be chosen to be valuable. You become the chooser. And from that space, the women you attract shift drastically. You stop being a temporary fix and become a destination. That's when masculine intuition becomes your compass. Start paying attention to what she responds to. Does she lean in when you're calm, confident, still? Or only when you're entertaining, giving, pleasing? This tells you everything about the foundation of your connection. A woman who values your mental dominance won't need theatrics. She'll respect your stillness, not punish it. Practice silence in your next interaction. Let her fill the space. The way she reacts to your presence without performance is the truest indicator of what you mean to her. Here's a subtle test. Stop offering. No more random favors. No more overextending. Watch what changes. If her attitude shifts, if she gets distant or irritated, it wasn't about you. It was about what you brought to her table. This is the difference between relationship dynamics built on value exchange versus true connection. The right woman won't flinch when you stop over-delivering. In fact, she'll lean in deeper. That's when you'll know your presence was enough. Not your wallet, not your effort, but you. There's a dangerous belief floating around that as long as she's here, she must care. False. Some women stay not out of love, but out of comfort, control, or boredom. Presence isn't proof of passion. It's the quality of her presence that matters. Does she ask how you're doing when there's nothing to gain? Does she encourage your goals, challenge your thinking, feed your spirit? Or is she just occupying space? Your masculine frame must filter the difference. With clarity comes peace. Stop asking, what do I need to do to make her want me? And start asking, is she even capable of valuing a man like me? That question shifts your entire lens. Some women aren't ready for a man rooted in personal power and emotional discipline. They'll reject depth because they live on the surface. Don't shrink to fit into her shallowness. Elevate and let her rise or fall away. The moment you accept that not everyone is meant for you, your standards become bulletproof. Now let's make something clear. Being wanted and being chosen are two very different things. You can be desired, admired, even obsessed over, but never truly chosen. Chosen means she sees you, aligns with your vision, walks beside your male purpose. If she's here today, gone tomorrow, uncertain every time things get deep, that's not commitment, that's confusion. And confusion is not a foundation. When you're operating in strategic thinking, you stop building castles in fog. You wait for solid ground. Start tracking how often you feel safe expressing yourself. If you're walking on eggshells, censoring your needs, afraid to scare her off, you're not in love. You're in emotional lockdown. The man living in his high-value man identity speaks without fear. He's honest, direct, unfiltered, but never cruel. If you can't speak your truth in her presence, it's not intimacy, it's surveillance. Your relationship dynamics should feel like freedom, not performance. Watch your words, and watch how she reacts to your honesty. Here's the final truth. You teach her how to treat you by what you tolerate. Every ignored red flag, every time you gave when you should have walked, it all builds the blueprint she follows. But that also means you can rewrite it. Today. Now. Choose intentional living. Choose peace over drama. Choose self-respect over attention. The second you shift from being reactive to intentional, you reclaim your emotional leverage. And suddenly, you're not wondering if she wants you. You're deciding if you want her. And once you reach that point, everything changes. You no longer fear her leaving. You no longer crave her validation. You see clearly who's meant to be in your life, and who was just a lesson. You become grounded, alert, and unshakable. That's male awakening. That's freedom. It's not about outsmarting her. It's about outgrowing the version of you that accepted less than what you're worth. This is your evolution. Not to play her game, but to rise so high you don't need one. So now you know the signs. You've seen where confusion lives and where real clarity begins. The question is, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to keep guessing her intentions? Or are you ready to start trusting your own? Are you going to stay in the cycle of doubt and female validation? Or are you stepping into the kind of personal power that demands more without having to beg for it? Ask yourself this. What would change in your life if you only gave your time to women who truly see you? Drop this in the comments right now. No more confusion. I choose clarity. Let that be your line in the sand. And if you've made it all the way here, truly, from me to you, thank you. That means you're not just curious, you're ready. You're doing the work most men avoid, and that deserves respect. If this message hit home, be generous, leave a like, share this with someone who needs it, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a moment to grow. We're just getting started, and your evolution is too important to pause.